Once again, we're back here again at Continuing Moments in 2022, and I'm Councilman Samuel Davis, pretty known as Sam Davis, here in our great city and other cities. And along with me is...
Hello, I'm Councilwoman Dr. LaShawn Burr-Danley. I serve in the same ward with Councilman Davis. We're in Ward 3. I'm Post 1, and he is Post 2. Today we have with us a really nice group, a good-looking group of youth that range from different ages and different schools, and we're going to take a pause and we're going to allow them to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves. Let's start right here with Jamaje.
Okay, so my name is Samaje Frazier. I currently attend University of West Georgia studying studio art and minoring in film and video production.
Okay.
Wow. Welcome.
My name is Janiah Besley. I go to Douglas County High School, and I'm an IB student, and I'm in the 9th grade.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Lyric Chisholm. I go to Stewart Middle School, and I'm in 8th grade.
All right.
Welcome.
My name is Caleb, and I am in 7th grade at Carrollton Junior High School.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Alexis. I'm a senior at the University of West Georgia. I study political science with a minor in Africana Studies.
West Georgia. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I currently attend Chapel Hill Middle School, and I'm in 6th grade.
All right.
Welcome.
So we have middle school and high school and college. One senior, did I hear a political science major with a minor in African American history?
Africana Studies, so like the whole diaspora of like blackness.
Oh, so tell us a little. Let's just stop before. Tell us a little bit about. She said blackness. Come on, let me hear you, Alexis.
What do you want to know?
What does that mean?
Well, as a minor in the whole, I study the history as far as like Afrocentric hairstyles, where they come from, all the way dating back to like a history of where or like why certain blackness and cultures and where they aspired and came from and developed. I also study the racial inequalities as well as like the legalities of.
Go ahead,
Black
look at
people.
her, Sam.
Oh, wow. She's
Okay.
ready to walk the aisle.
She is. So we have a couple of questions, and I'll start with. Councilman Davis is going to start.
Okay. And you can answer it all at once, or you can raise your hand and you can just say, I'll take it.
Good idea.
Why should we celebrate Black history? Who want to take?
Okay, Ryan.
Ryan's on it.
So we should celebrate Black History because there are a lot of like famous, like dating back to like the 1800s. There are a lot of famous Black inventors that people of all races use like in their everyday lives. So I just like, for example, I think John Standard created the refrigerator, and like kids maybe 5 to 6, they may like use the Nerf guns, like going back to the Super Soaker created by Lonnie Johnson, I think.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Wow,
Ryan took
very
us all the way
good.
back to the 1800s. Okay. Anyone else? Why should we celebrate Black history?
I'll go.
Okay.
Yes.
I believe that we should celebrate it every day, not just in the month of February, but it's important for us to know who started things before we were here, and it actually helps build up the confidence of our community, knowing that we have so many great people that came before us to pave the way to carry us on. So,
All right,
Very
listen.
good.
All right, Miss Articulate. Okay.
Yes.
Come on. Who's next? Why should we
Don't
celebrate?
be bashful, just
Okay, Caleb. Why should we?
Our past ancestors, they always tell us to stand up, and especially Martin Luther King. He has his own statue, and with Rosa Parks, she also was a great Black American, which led us to boycott back in, I think it was the 18s.
oh, he brought out
Way
Rosa
before
Parks.
any of us were. Let me see. I think Councilman Davis was born. Were you born in 1800s? I'm kidding.
No. Probably wasn't thought of.
So, a lot of times adults, such as Councilman Davis and myself, your parents, your teachers, sometimes we just may not understand what you're thinking. Not just as an African American, but just being a youth. What can adults do today to help you become successful, or just help understand where our young people are? What are you thinking? What can we do as adults?
Go ahead.
Okay, Lyric.
Probably to like give us advice, and it's our choice to take that advice. And if we don't, I guess it's on us. But
Okay.
it's good to listen to our elders, I guess,
Mhm.
or people older than us, because they're more wise.
So we need to give you advice and hope that you listen, because we don't have all the answers, but we've experienced some stuff, haven't we?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Lyric said advice.
I think because they had more experience since they lived longer than us, and they can help us go on the correct path and be successful in life. So they should tell us about their past stories that can lead us in the correct direction instead of going in a bad direction and making the same mistakes they did.
Oh, good
Well,
point.
I like the
Very good
past
point.
stories. I have some stories to tell.
Okay. Anyone else? Alexis, why? What can we do as adults? You're an adult,
Well,
but what can we do?
I mean, I'm not that old. I'm only
You're not that
22.
old. You're beautiful. I hear you. You're not that old, but what can we do?
From a college student's perspective, I would say a lot of the history that I've learned, besides my mom giving me information, because she's from Southside Chicago, so she's had a lot of experience with
Chi-town.
she's had a lot of experience with like activism. I would say if I didn't know all of the things before, from a college student's perspective, I think that we should be able to mentor like the younger generation, since we have like a sense of like more complex education. So being able to put it in layman's terms and tell the younger people about what's going on and what has happened and how we can prevent that from happening again, and like knowing the signs of different, I guess you could say like bigotry and stuff that goes on, that would be way better. But I didn't learn a lot of the things about Black history or the whole diaspora till like my senior year.
In high school or
college.
in college? Wow.
Yeah, because in
Okay.
high school you have to remember like it's kind of watered down. Like the curriculum is speeds past. Like we learned about Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream, and then slavery ended. Okay, cool. Civil Rights
basically
Act 1964. Okay, yeah, and then moves on.
Would you say that's for all of? Is that how most of you learn history? Is just go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I'm actually having to write an essay right now for history class. It's like, it was asking me if I'm actually interested in taking that specific course, and they were saying to be completely honest. So I was like, well, to be honest, like learning American history all throughout my life, well, for me, it seems that we only get one side of everything and not like deep into what our people went through during the past. It's also, it's always just a specific group of people that we learn about instead of our people. So whenever we're having history classes, I'm like, how does this really apply to me? Because I'm not learning about my own culture. So that's just how I feel about it.
All right.
I like that.
I do. I like those answers. Wow. Do you have another question, Councilman Davis?
Anyone else before we
Anyone
move
else?
on that want to share?
Okay. How can adults help? So just giving information. That's what I'm hearing. Is that what you're saying too, Ryan and Caleb? Yes. Just give information about what happened to us in the past, whether it be the good, the bad, the ugly, just to be kind of real. Is that what you're saying? Okay. So that mistakes won't be kind of continually made over again. Yes? Okay.
So when I was going to school, and that was one of the Pacifics, you had to learn Black history. You had to learn where you come from, where you're going. So, in essence, say this: who are your favorite hero or shero in Black history? And I'll start with who's your
Any of it.
favorite?
Doesn't have to be someone you learned in school, but who is your hero? Who's your Black history hero or shero? Okay, let's start with Lyric.
Okay, so it'll have to be my parents, because they're very successful in life, and like they're being successful. My dad, he is a music producer, and we made our own company. And my mom, we all help him like become this really cool, big, rapper, I guess.
Okay.
But he has his own book, and it's really good.
Wow.
And Don't ask me the name of it.
It's okay.
It's like
Wonderful.
I think it's effort. I do it myself, but it's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So your parents are your best, okay?
Hero. Okay, heroes.
Who else? Ryan, did I see you? Okay.
I actually, going back to John Stander again, I actually say he has been like my favorite hero because I actually did like I think a project on him in 3rd grade, and so I just found it really interesting how like he had like the diagrams of setting up the refrigerator, and like without the refrigerator we wouldn't like not be able to like eat anything, but like I feel like our like foods wouldn't be like, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're trying to say. If we didn't have a refrigerator, I wouldn't eat, because where are we going to keep it?
Yeah, and so I just found it really interesting how he like found it like easy to like handle with the diagrams, and how he was gonna like measure up to those standards of how like the different steps that he was gonna like, that it was gonna like not like the different like standards. Going back to the word standards again, that they were gonna have to be like
Just important. He had to stick to priority. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
So you're in what grade now?
a 6.
And you did a project on him in the 3rd grade, and you still remember all the dynamics.
Yes.
All right, Ryan.
That's great.
All
I can
right.
applaud you.
Caleb, who's your favorite?
I would say Martin Luther King because we always learn about him in 4th grade.
And why is he important to you? Why is he your favorite?
My favorite speech is when he said, "I have a dream
Okay.
where white girls and black boys and black girls would hold hands."
All right. So what Dr. King said then, before you were even born, you see that happening now. So
Yes.
is that why, one of the reasons why you like Dr. King? Okay. Anyone else?
I have a dream. Isn't that nice? Thank you.
Mine would be Rosa Parks, because even though she knew the risk of what could happen if she sat where she wasn't supposed to sit, and she still did because she wanted to stand up for her people. And most people who want to stand up for their culture or any race, and they knew the risk, like going to jail, prison, getting killed, they wouldn't keep going. But Rosa Parks still went, even though she knew she was going to get locked up.
Wow.
She
That's
did
really
not want
good.
to give up that seat. She sat there and sat there.
That's right. Samaje?
For me, I'd have to say my mom and my grandmother. They've helped me out a lot, whether it's like with stuff with school, my self-confidence mentally. For a while, it was just me and my mom, and then, of course, we have my brother, but she's just always been there to strengthen me whenever we're going through tough times, so I really
Aw.
appreciate that.
That's a sweetie. Alexis, do you have a favorite?
Ooh,
She has a whole list.
She has some.
She can't narrow
that's
it
what I
down to
was
one.
She tried-
processing it. I mean, of course, my mom, because she kind of put me on to activism, turned me kind of into a radical. But yeah,
Okay. You're a little bit of a radical.
slight-
That's not a bad thing.
slightly.
You're an advocate. That's okay.
I would say there are a lot of Black people in history who have paved the way. You know, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, Shirley Chisholm, Kamala Harris. We've seen recently, but I like the underrated ones like Georgia Gilmore.
Yes.
Do y'all know who Georgia Gilmore is?
Go
No?
for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Georgia Gilmore, she is from Selma. It's either Selma or Birmingham. I forget.
We
Alabama.
know she's from Alabama.
Yeah,
So, okay.
she's from Alabama.
Had you all ever heard of her? Okay, little history lesson. Give us, Alexis.
Okay, so during the times of where we were fighting oppression, she was. I'm trying to really dumb it down. I'm sorry. She basically was a curator for a lot of organizations who funded the civil rights movement, kind of like under the table.
So she was like a behind the scenes
Yeah,
person.
she was a behind the scenes actor, from cooking anything you could think of, collard greens, peach cobblers, pound cake, going door to door selling them. So when the boycotts happened, she was able to raise money for cars, insurance, other means of transportation.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was a real actor behind the scenes, as well as like Martin Luther King and other activists actually went to go eat at her diner and discuss politics and discuss the next meetings in private.
Okay. So it's not always the names of the individuals that were out front. There was a team and droves of individuals behind the scene that helped kind of support. Like you're mentioning your mom and your grandmother and That's awesome. Councilman Davis, tell us a little bit about, Alexis was just speaking about those that were behind the scenes and you had individuals feeding them. Talk a little bit about the mule train that came through Douglasville. Did you all know that the mule train that was going to D.C. stopped right here in our city? I wasn't born. Councilman Davis was,
I have to
though.
give you some history about that. I researched it, and it was, you all probably know what Stewart Middle School.
Mm-hmm.
And the trains came up, 278, they had to come through, I believe 278 come out of Birmingham. And they were stopped, the governor stopped them right here in Douglasville.
Mm-hmm.
And they welcomed them over to Stewart. They had to park the wagons and the mules right there at Stewart, and they locked up.
Where your ball? Where is it? Where the field is now?
Where the
your
field.
where your track field is? You go to Stewart. That big field is where they were.
They had a mule train, and they locked up the leaders, and they took the train. They took the train there, and they took the mules to. We had a bund here because the mules needed feeding. They was exhausted coming out of Birmingham, all the mules and wagons. So they took them there and fed them until the governor released them.
Wow.
And they went up 278 to Atlanta and got on the train. Train took them into D.C. for the march on D.C., the Poor People March.
And there were two individuals here in the city of Douglasville who got on the mule train, and it was it two or three?
It was two. It was Jackie
Fowler,
our late Jackie Fowler, and
Benny
our late Benny Smith.
So they both are deceased, but they actually caught the mule train and they went on to D.C. with them. All right, next question. Many of us have heard the phrase "Black Lives Matter." What does that phrase mean to you, and why isn't it all lives matter?
I'll go
Okay.
first. Okay, so I saw this analogy on social media of why it shouldn't just be like all lives matter. They were saying, so if you see a house that's on fire, you'll send a fire truck to go and help out with that house, but you don't just sit there and like, well, what about my house? Because your house isn't on fire. You go and help the house that's actually burning. So that's the way I see it. Yeah.
Wow, that's a very good analogy. You saw that where?
It was on TikTok.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
I think that the reason why we don't say, well, we do say all lives matter, but right now we need to say Black Lives Matter, because all lives do matter, but right now Black lives are the one who's hurting right now, so we need to not just like put all our focus on them, but we need to acknowledge it and at least try to help it. And all lives do matter, but right now we need to focus on Black lives.
That's
Okay.
good, young lady. Great.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Anyone else? Caleb?
Black lives do matter because we've been treated wrong a lot since the past few years. And we've been traded, we've been sent to other people, slavery, and that's pretty much all I have to say. But I see a lot of people at school wearing those Black Lives Matter shirts.
Okay. Very good point. Ryan?
So Black lives do matter because, when they say all lives matter, I really think I don't think that's wrong because, like what she said, all lives do matter. But like right now, focusing on police brutality, it's like mainly like focused on like Black people and how they've been getting killed by like not the police mainly, but like this goes back to like all the way in the 1800s, like what Caleb said, with slavery. So I really think the term comes from the 1800s and with slavery, and how Black people were treated, and so this goes back to with Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, and there's been there's been a lot of other Black lives that were like unfortunately like taken, and they're no longer like here with us, and so yeah, I just feel like it goes back like that's what the term Black Lives Matter means.
So I'm hearing you. So are you hearing them say that all lives matter, but from your perspective right now, there are some things going on with Black folk that need to have some attention to. Okay, were you going to say something, Alexis? I just saw you hold it. No, only if you want to. Okay. All right, Councilman Davis, you have another question? Okay, go ahead.
Let's see, if you had to be a advocate today, and
Good question.
who would you want to base your life after? If you want to be an advocate today.
Hmm. If you had to advocate.
No, this is not real, like responding to the question, but can you like define the definition of advocate?
Advocate. That's a very good question. So someone help Ryan out. How would you define advocate?
It's like fighting for somebody else who can't fight for themselves, or like a group of people.
Can you speak that in the
Oh, I'm
microphone?
Oh, she's
Okay.
good.
It's advocacy. I'm sorry, I can't speak. Or being an advocate is fighting for people who can't necessarily fight for themselves, or a collective group of people, or ethnic group or culture.
Hmm. Okay.
Good.
So with that, now that you have the definition, Ryan, do you have a? So let's
I'll
kind
tell
of
you who I would fight for: the homeless. I would fight for, advocate for the homeless. There are many, many homeless out there that need someone to just pick up and speak for them, help them.
Caleb.
What she was elaborating on is basically being a hero for somebody else.
Yes. All right.
Wait, so it's like the question is like, who would we fight for?
Who
Like,
would you, or when we say fight, we don't mean like, but we mean advocate, speak up for.
Speak up.
Just like what Alexis said, for individuals who may not, or culture who may not have been able to speak for themselves.
I think it would be colored people in general, because not only Black lives are hurt, but many other color, like Muslims, Hispanics, because some people assume that Muslims are terrorists and that Hispanics need to go back over the border, and Asians, they cause COVID. So I would want to fight for colored people in general, other races.
Okay.
Good.
Other races, very good point.
Right.
Lyric, you've been awfully quiet. If you were going to advocate, what would you advocate for? It doesn't have to just be people. What would you advocate for?
I would have to agree with her.
Okay.
What's your name?
Janaya.
I would have to agree with Janaya because a lot of people, like my friends, they tell me a lot of stories about their grandparents, and when of this one friend, her parents are not from America, and they had to fight to be in America and to provide a living for my friend. So I'm saying that like people from all over the country, they don't have like a voice if they can't financially get here, if they want to be here, or if they can't exactly like be there for their family if they're here, because people like they don't want
Right.
they don't want them here. I
Right,
guess,
right.
because they think, oh, let's just have this one race here in America, like that needs to be here, and they're like this really big dominant race,
Right.
which is not true.
Right. Right. Because there are a lot of things, like Councilman Davis said, homelessness, but, advocating for better health care, or what else? Not
Human
just
rights.
people. Human rights, or LBGTQ, is that I say it right?
LBGT.
Yes. Seniors, affordable housing.
Right, like you said, healthcare, affordable housing, then also those that can't really speak up because of like abusive households or something.
Yes.
Being
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to speak up for them when they feel that they can't do it themselves.
Right. Okay. Did you have one, Ryan? An advocacy, something that's really passionate to you? Not yet? Okay. All right,
I
that's a
actually
good
have
question.
something to say.
Sure.
When you said affordable housing, my mom said if she ever had the money to build houses, she would make homes that are affordable for like single moms, even single dads, because there's a lot of families out there who don't have enough income to build. To buy
Just
houses.
be in a decent home.
Be in a
Right.
decent home because
Okay.
of how the prices went up over the years.
Yes. Like right now. Yes. You're a senior getting ready to graduate, right? Yes.
I'm gonna stick to my apartment.
Okay. So next question. If there was one thing you could change in today's world, what would it be? Lyric.
Medical bills, because one, they're really, really expensive. If, like, when you're injured and you go to the hospital, you expect them to help you. But then when you're injured, you don't think about how much it's going to be, because people, they have to get paid. But then you're like, I don't have enough money for that bill. So then you're left in debt when you try to pay it. Or you just can't pay it. And I guess you get like a fine or something to pay it. So you get a fine on top of what you're supposed to pay, and you can't pay it. So I would think that cheaper or free medical health care.
For those that cannot afford it. Very good point. Caleb, you were going to say something? No? Anyone else? Ryan? If you could change one thing in the world.
I know this seems crazy, like coming
Nothing
from
is
like a kid
crazy.
my age, but like I think I would say like all the advanced technologies like in the world that we have right now. Because my dad always says, "I wish y'all were born like me and my sister. I wish you all were born in my generation, because it was like not way easier back then, but like it didn't that generation didn't have all these like things like emails, texts, like they didn't have all that stuff. And so I feel like maybe I kind of like not agree with him on that, but I feel like maybe if there wouldn't be too much like a lot of technologies in the world, that like people would maybe be more social, or like because like like I think maybe phones can be a little too addictive, because they can keep us away from like our friends or our relatives. And so yeah, that's all.
That's a very good point. It's like going into a restaurant and everyone's waiting on their meal, and how it used to be with us, we were conversating and talking, but now what do you see when people are waiting on their meal? Everybody's doing what? Texting. Yeah, that's a very good point, Ryan. Kind of chill out with the social media. Although it's great, but just it takes away from our social skill. I like that point. Anybody else?
I think it's money inflation in general, because gas, like for example, gas did not used to be as high as it is now, and it's been, since how high it's been going up over the years, is being harder. It's getting harder for families to support themselves and support their kids, because all parents should want their kids to go somewhere one day, and it might be hard for them because money wise, and they might not be able to provide education for them because of how high prices have gone over the years. So yeah, money inflation.
So gas prices have increased. We talked about housing prices, inflation. It's called inflation. Everything is going up, and who's going to end up paying that? Yes, we are. Food prices, clothes. All right. Anyone else want to make a comment about that? No? Okay, Alexis.
I wouldn't pick one thing, but as a general, because that's a multifaceted question. I just can't pick one thing. I'm indecisive. I'm a Libra. So,
you're too cute.
One thing I would change about, like, one non-tangible thing I would change would be, like, greed, I guess, in the American individualism mindset, because it kind of hinders everybody in the long run. Like how the young lady in front of me mentioned, like how prices are going up and people aren't making a living wage. Like national minimum wage is still $7.25, but gas is $3. Like somebody's gonna have to work dang near 15 hours to get enough gas for like 2 days,
and then you get taxed and all that.
Yeah, taxed.
So you're saying there's a lot that you would change, but you would want to start with livable wages. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Or like, if I could have the power to change anything, it would be the greed.
The greed.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big one.
It's big.
So yeah, everybody wants it. Greed. So I like that idea. So let's be a little bit more humble and pay it forward, maybe. Okay, anybody else? What would you change, Councilman Davis?
What would I change? Well, everybody's talking about the voter laws. Voter laws, that's been the biggest topic. Voter laws, how to change the way we go about voting now. You all are reaching the age, and you probably got a couple of years before you all be eligible to vote. and hopefully the laws will be set so you all could really voice your opinion in voting and cast your vote for the best candidate that you all could really read about and study about. Voting laws, that's what I would change.
Yeah, I'm like you, Alexis. It's like a whole list. I think for me it would definitely be health care, that people will have access to health care regardless of what their income status is or where they lived, but affordable health care. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying, Lyric, in regards to going to the doctor and then you get this bill and it's like so high. Because, yeah, the doctors have to get paid, but it's ridiculous. All right, so last question. How have you celebrated Black history in the past?
I'll start.
Okay. She's a starter. She's our starter. Okay, Samaje.
So growing up, we always had Black History Month assemblies in school, and like back then I didn't really think much of it, but now that I'm older, I'm like I said earlier, it's very important that we know where we come from and who set the stage before us. Now I like to look into more about where exactly our origins are, because we don't get told much about it in school. It's just you arrived here on a boat in Virginia and then you became slaves, and that's kind of it. But I want to venture into what came before that.
Right. What's a little
So, yeah.
deeper. Okay. All right, Caleb.
Same thing what my sister said. Mainly, I've seen things on the news about us, and with George Floyd, even though he's deceased, he was really a great person to me. He was also kind of like a hero to me. And we've actually talked about Black history in our church sometimes.
Okay. So you celebrate in church, right? School. Anyone else? How have you celebrated in the past? Alexis?
Honestly, I just try to be my most outward Black woman that I can.
Every day.
Every day, because once I started studying about the origins and the history of oppression, straight off the boat, even it's just crazy, like how our ancestors tried to just still hold on to a piece of our culture, down to the hair, to the way that we dance, to the way that we speak, create different languages. So I just try to be just my most outward Black woman that I can.
That is the bomb. Listen to her. Okay. How have you celebrated Black history in the past?
Mostly school. Like, I didn't genuinely just, like, celebrate it other out than school because I didn't know how to. And I didn't know, I didn't know about the history of it, but I didn't know how to genuinely celebrate it other than learn about the history.
Okay.
So I mostly just learned it in school and with school assemblies and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Ryan?
This goes back to like what she said in front of me. The Black History school assemblies, and like how they done all these things, and like that most people, most kids that were in elementary school at the time didn't know that what Black people did, and what they not sacrificed for us to be here, but I guess that's what I'm going for. But yeah, they showed us all the different sororities for mostly Black people.
Right.
And so I just thought it was interesting how they all I guess. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right, Lyric.
Well, in school, I would celebrate Black History Month in school. We do assemblies and projects and stuff like that. But when I'm at home, I don't really celebrate it as much. But my parents, I learn a lot more about Black history at home than I do at school. At home, at school, we don't learn that before slavery, in somewhere in Asia, they're Egyptians. They're not Egyptians, but in Africa, they were royalty, and all that. The royal blood gets passed on throughout all of us. So we don't learn that in school.
Right.
But at home, my dad, he talks about that a lot, and we know where we come from, and how we should act, and the stereotypes of Black people should not be oh, we're loud, or we don't know how to talk correctly, or you're illiterate and can't talk at all. So it's great to learn about it deeper and it's great to know that you can have background knowledge about things. So.
Wow. Whew, this group is amazing. Y'all are blowing my mind.
Dynamic Youth Council.
You're blowing my mind. This is amazing. What do you think, Councilman Davis?
Well, I tell you, that Dynamic Youth Council, we're gonna organize our first youth council, and we're gonna start with you all in the great city of Douglasville. Other cities has youth council, and my colleague, Dr. Danley, and this is our goal to organize a dynamic youth council, and hopefully when we ask you all to join, and you all say yes, we'll.
So there's a process. Councilman Davis and I and other council members, we have been speaking about a youth council because we're not going to always be in office. There are opportunities now for you to take advantage of. So there's a process, there's an age process. I'm not sure exactly what that looks like. It's not going to happen tomorrow, and it'll be a diverse group of youth because at some point we have to pass the baton so that one day you may be an elected official or a doctor or the nurse or the teacher, and you'll be sitting in the seats where we are, even the mayor or the president of the United States. You may be that one day. So it is up to you to carry the message to others outside of this room. And be yourself every day. I really like that, is that you celebrate yourself as Black woman every day. Can I borrow that? I'm going to take that and celebrate me every day. I like that. Not just during the month of February, but the entire year. And we celebrate all people.
And if you use Martin Luther King quote, I am somebody. Everybody, let's say it. I am
somebody. All right. Well, thank you so much to our listening and viewing audience. We have completed a segment of Continuing Moments with the City of Douglasville. I'm with my colleague, Councilman Sam Davis. We have a fine group of young people here. We look forward to doing this again in 2023, and I believe that you never know, one of you may be sitting in here doing the interview just yourself.
I got one question before we go.
Okay.
When you grow up, what would you want to be?
I really want to be a professional painter and have my own museum. Yeah.
And have your own studio?
Have my own studio, have my own museum where I can show off my artwork. And I really want to be an entrepreneur for
Business owner.
cosmetics.
For?
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics, okay.
Young lady?
I want to be a travel nurse or actress because I always wanted to travel and I always wanted to be a nurse, but I didn't know which one to choose. And until I found out that, it's a job of travel nurse, and so I decided to
Do
Travel
both.
nurse.
All
Okay.
right.
I'd also like to have my own studio to put my art up. I'd also like to be a director for a film maybe one day.
All right. Okay.
I know this sounds kind of weird coming from a boy, but I guess I'd like to be a professional dancer. When I grew up dancing in all styles, and I guess when I retire about the age of like maybe 35, I'll become like a real estate agent.
I think that's amazing, Ryan, to be a dancer. I mean, have you ever seen, what is it, Alvin
Avenue?
Ailey?
Oh yes.
Yes.
I haven't seen it, but like my sister, she was a dancer. She's not dancing anymore, but I think she saw one of their productions. I think, yeah, but I've heard of them.
Are you dancing now?
Yes.
What type of dance do you like?
I do right now. I do hip hop, jazz, and ballet.
I think that's
Oh, my
amazing.
goodness.
You would be just, I think that's awesome. So whenever you have your first performance, I want a free ticket, okay?
Young lady?
Alexis?
Coincidentally, I would actually like to enter the political sphere. The past summer or like last year, I worked with like the grassroots with like
Did
Clark
you?
Atlanta,
Okay.
Smart.
Morehouse, Spelman on Reverend Warnock's campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like just doing all of that, like
You just
caravan.
got all wrapped up in
Yeah, I
it.
was like, I could do this for a living, or like I could work behind a politician, or even become like a representative, or hopefully sit in one of our seats.
It's
one day.
addictive.
Yes.
Have you been to DC yet?
No, I'm filling out an internship application to go to DC. to
Okay,
to
so if
study
you
public
need our
affairs.
assistance, you need us to write you a letter of recommend. We
Okay.
got you.
You got
I'll
it.
be seeing you after.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Caleb?
I would like to be a construction worker. When I was younger, I always use mega blocks. If you've heard of them before,
Yes.
and I've actually built the Eiffel Tower out of it.
What?
And
Have you ever been to Legoland?
No.
Oh my God, it's amazing. But go ahead.
And right now I have my own Legos. You know, just to start it off.
That's awesome.
I want to have my own company called CJW Industries.
Look at you, CJ, your own construction. Go ahead. We need more contractors to build the high rise and the houses and all that good stuff. Wonderful. That's a very good career. All of you.
Okay.
You've been amazing. Councilman Davis, we need to go on or wrap it.
We're going to have to wrap it up. It's getting late in the afternoon, and I'm sure our listening audience, and our parents that have brought the kids out for us to have a great conversation. And you have the last moment?
All right, so as we've said before, thank you so much for joining us. 2022 with the City of Douglasville, continuing moments in Black history. Have a good evening.
Tell everybody bye.
All right. Okay.